votes or keys, here's the sheet to do that. Most of you, I think have got one. Andy, this is sign up sheet.
I think she's got it right there.
Steve, look at you.
Well, that's fine. Yeah, put it over there.
Sign up sheet. And you got my pen?
Josie. Yeah. Good morning.
You look so pretty.
Oh, you're so nice. So do you.
Oh, well, thank you.
I love the color. It looks good on you.
Mutual admiration.
Right?
That's for committee.
Cypress, Arizona Cypress.
That's for committee. This is the second, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the one, yeah.
Oh, no, we're sitting here.
No, I was here. We have one of these. Check it out.
Okay.
Well, it's hard.
All right, everybody's attention. I call this meeting to order at 9:31, Saturday, June the 14th. Thank you for everybody being here. As I said, anybody, do we have any agendas left? We got one left? Anybody else needs one? Before we get started, before I call to order, establish a quorum. We have all 5 of us here. We have Josie, Tom, myself, Will, Mark. I want to, some of you that got the new agenda, we're going to have to call a special meeting because, again, we met in March, but this board has done a lot of work since we all met in March. I think you all should be aware of that. I'm especially proud of our board members and all of the volunteers that have helped us to do all the changes that we've done to the amenities. And
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So in light of that, on the back side of the agenda, there's several items in red. Those are items that we're going to move. We'll probably, if we have time, we'll talk about it a little bit, but we can't make any vote on them because they were not on the agenda. So we'll be calling a special meeting so we can address all of this because it's stuff that we don't want to wait till September till we do the next one. So that being said, we have the minutes. Has everybody on the board read the minutes?
Yep. Yes.
Anybody want to make any changes?
I'd just like to add in there, we put on there that we weren't sure what we were going to add, if we were going to approve the minutes from old and
January.
Yeah, the electronic votes, and so I probably would like to just amend on that and say that we did not approve the votes, nor did we vote on them.
Right. And I didn't get a chance to look to see that January 12th. Paul, you're sitting here. You called the January 12th. Do you recall? I guess we need to go through those minutes. Is that right, what I read? We haven't approved those minutes, right, Will?
No, we have not approved.
Okay, so we'll table that for, see if we can put that together for the special meeting. How about that? Anybody else have any comments on the minutes? All those approved?
I have to. I don't.
That's right, Josie. I'm looking at Josie, but I know Josie can't vote because she wasn't here. The minutes stand as approved for March the 8th. Treasurer's report, before Josie presents, I put together, I just handed it real quickly to the board. There's only a few copies here. But I did an income budget comparison to what we've actually spent. This actually goes through May the 31st. And then actually what our budget is. I want to point out that the pool cost right now is going to end up coming through at a $253,246.26. And so we're just a little bit over the budget of $250 that we allowed, but we ended up having a lot of extra things as all construction projects. I'm looking at this guy. Yeah, I'm looking at Jim. And several of you that have done construction projects, we did the best we could as far as making sure that we stayed on budget. But if anybody wants to look at this, it's up here for a copy.
So can I ask a question? Yes. As far as the pool costs are concerned, is that strictly for the pool, or did you include the landscaping?
All of that's in there, including the building, which I'll talk about when we get. You want to talk about it now? Let's see, I broke it down here. I lost my well, we'll talk about it when I get to that part on the agenda. I have it broken down of what the actual cost was.
So it's not really for the pool then?
We allocate, the pool itself was 227,000 plus 2,500. The 2,500 was for the extra tiles that went out here for lap pool.
Yeah.
So that number, outside of that, was a 30-some thousand number, so I'm not finding a note.
And part of that was for landscaping and part of that was for the pool house? This
A big
construction?
chunk of it was for landscaping.
Okay, so we need to break that out, so we're not actually over budget on the pool itself. We're just adding additional requirements for landscaping and.
We never had landscaping in the original budget for doing the pool.
I know, but that's
Yeah,
not,
the
should
pool
be
is for the
included.
construction of the pool.
Right.
And also, we ran into, now we're gonna get into it, so I'll just give you the
We're
report on
jumping
it.
off our thing.
Because it's part of the budget. So
Yeah.
what happened was that originally the pump house,
Yes.
a couple things happened. It was that pump house was built on dirt.
Yeah, I know.
And so the contractor offered to pour a concrete
Concrete
slab
slab.
for nothing.
Sure.
So, and then also we went from a residential pump originally, decided to go with commercial pumps. So they broke it down, so instead of one 5 horsepower motor, we went with 2 3 horsepower motors for no additional cost. So we got a commercial grade pool,
Right.
commercial grade pumps and systems with everything that we were expecting, but that didn't cost us any more money.
Okay.
And also, the electrical service was not capable of handling what was
Right.
wired originally,
Yeah.
because we all know it's always been a mess since day one. So the contractor also threw in running new conduit pipe underground, the excavating, putting the pipe in, and running the appropriate sized wire in there for nothing. So he threw in for nothing, new conduit lines and pouring the concrete slab. And we didn't have in the budget originally, but we did have a fudge factor in there to cover it, maybe an additional cost that we weren't foreseeing. So all that was pretty much covered within the $250,000. Where we went over budget was in the landscaping.
Okay. Well, that should be a.
Wasn't really part of it in the first place. We
Right.
never counted on that.
Right.
But we had additional money kind of left over, so I said, well, let's use some of that money towards the landscape.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify because
And-
we didn't go over budget,
No,
but, so let's
and
not
also
say
we
that.
weren't counting on accommodating some of our people that want to be able to do laps in the community, so that was an afterthought at
Right.
the end, because that person came to us already when we already signed the contract and already started construction in the pool. So, but the board voted on to go ahead and approve that additional $2,500 that we had in the budget to cover that.
Right.
So it was already allotted for that. So we weren't counting on that either, too.
Okay.
So we had approximately 24,000 went out for all the landscaping. That does not include the wood rail fence and the building. As Mike said.
But it looks great, and I
So-
really appreciate
The
it.
fence, didn't they throw in the fence also?
What's that?
The metal fence was thrown in.
Oh, yeah, yes, a good point, the metal fence, thanks for pointing that out.
I'm talking about the wood rail.
Yeah.
The wood railing we charged to property maintenance.
And the metal fence was thrown in for nothing too. We could have put the old one back up, but it would have looked really terrible, and he threw in, also giving us a brand new fence for nothing too. So the contractor really stepped up and did right for us. The only thing they haven't fixed, and they haven't been taken full yet, is they haven't fixed when they went to go pour the slab for the pump house, the cement guy got here sooner than the employee of the pool company, and the wire that ran from the post office over to the pump house, that wire got covered. So we have to relocate and find that wire, which the contractor still has to do. He has to do that before we give him his final payment. He's owed roughly about $25,000, so we're still holding that back when he does that.
I have to say that I love that 911 box in the pool. I never knew that we had one, to be honest with you. And I've been out here for 30 years plus. Heavens. So now I'm glad it's in the pool area where Mark.
Well, it was in the wrong place, it was
Yeah.
outside, so
No, you did
you would
good.
have had to leave the gate, and then if you didn't have your key, you would have locked yourself out, so you wouldn't have been able to get back in to maybe help the person that was drowning or having a heart attack. So
Yeah.
we're up to code standards, Travis County code standards, even though we don't legally have to meet them because we're in Burnett County, but we're up to the commercial grade standards, so everything that's been done. Also, the shower was added in there too. People were asking people to shower off before they go in there, because that's really important. How we think we got black mold in the old pool, We think people didn't shower when they came out of the lake and brought that contaminants into the pool, and that's how we got black mold. And one of the things with the new system is that we have ultraviolet lights in our system. We have one on each pump, so any bacteria gets killed by the ultraviolet lights that as the water's getting filtered back into the pool.
Thank you. Plus, we're saving, what, $20,000 in water?
Well, yeah, it was 20, no, we used 200,000 gallons. last year.
200,000 gallons in water.
last year.
So the other comment, if we want to, since we're almost 3,000 over, so we just food for thought later, we can move that down. We do have amount still left in landscaping enhancement. We
Yeah,
haven't
let's
touched
do
that.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
So we'd have to vote to do that. So we want to vote to do that now?
Let's do that.
Yes.
Okay, so let me look at what our exact, because I estimate, we haven't got that final bill in from Paradise Pool. So let's just say we move 3,500.
What's in the budget of landscaping right now?
Well, landscaping enhancements, we have 5,000. We haven't used that yet. Because we've been moving it. We have landscape maintenance, but that's for the mower, which they won't use all of their money this year either. So I propose let's move it. I make a motion to move 3,500 out of the non-reoccurring budget that was done for the pool to landscape enhancements.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
First of all, any discussion? More discussion?
No.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes. Got that down to a dollar now, so make sure. The other comment I want to make on this budget as well is, one of the things this association needs to realize, and we ran it last year, we're running it again this year, we're 100,000 in open AR. That doesn't help us, especially with what we're going to have to battle this year for roads. So I know, I'm looking at all of you here, I know you're very diligent in making sure that you're responsible in paying those assessments. They're just as important as paying your taxes. But we had that amount hanging last year. Now we've got this amount, some of it's dragging, I should say quite a bit of it's dragging from last year.
I can comment on that because I did have a conversation.
Okay, well, go ahead.
Oh.
Maybe it might be what I'm going to say.
Well,
What's
so,
open AI?
Huh?
it's
Accounts
accounts
receivable.
receivable.
People not paying their dues.
Are you talking about the legal, that's illegal right now, or just AR?
No, I'm talking about open AR, anybody that's past due for
On the
assessments, fines.
Is that the stuff that goes to cable, I guess is what I'm
Yeah, part of it's going to take them.
Okay, so my understanding, I did have a conversation with cable guy, his name is Greg as well. Everybody's name is Greg. And he said that those things are being taken care of. I will tell you that when I talked to Melissa, was it Melissa? Anyway, I talked to somebody and they said that, I think Julie, you had made a comment to Hagel or somebody, or maybe the board, with regards to our past dues. And what ends up happening is a couple of fell off on the list, right? That list, because he's collecting them, or they're in a position where they're starting to collect. But the collection time frame is 6 to 8 months for us to get that money back. So apparently you have to go through the legal ramifications. We're not.
To give you an idea, we had one that was, I'm 21 when I was on the board before. Finally, we got reimbursed for that one. So you can calculate how many years, so 4 years.
Or 2025.
For one of those, to finally get the money back. And when we get the money back, so when you look at our budget and it shows maybe the legal expense is gonna probably go out of its bound again, it's because we're having to put all that legal expense in that Cagel's doing to do these collections, which we've got to do. But when it ever gets collected, it comes back to us as a credit. So as an example, we got 5,500 back for this one that I just talked about. So just to, Nara's shaking her head because she knows. Uh-huh. Well, we had an income fee of, it said 27, I think that's all related with it, I didn't clarify with Melissa. But I remember that one being almost the 10 grand number when they went after it.
10 grand to collect.
No. It couldn't have been 10 grand.
Yeah, I was gonna say, there was one that was higher than that, I didn't look that one.
Was that because of the length of time or the amount of collection?
Well, probably length of time, because it gets added on fees every time. So anyway, we did get a total we got a total of almost 8,000 bats for that one. So that being said, moving on, and I forgot, I was giving time for people to sign up. Anybody else need to sign up? Paul?
Is that a sign-up sheet?
On the ones that you signed up, is it for a particular item on the agenda, or is it something
Anybody else want to
separate?
sign up? Sweet, that's it.
To speak.
Is it on the agenda, what you want to talk about, or is it a separate item? Okay, so I'm only going to do the separate items now, and if it's on the agenda, then we'll do that with the item. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you mentioned, you did mention.
I know, I'm sorry, apologize. All right, Charlene is running a little bit late, so we'll skip her for now. Brian, you want general for now,
Sure.
since you're up here?
Sure, thank you. And I signed up for both this one and the next agenda item, which I think Danny will talk to, because I didn't want to take up more time than you may want to put up with for this.
We appreciate that.
But just by way of personal introduction, my name is Brian Garceau. My wife is Dina, right there behind me. We moved into Windermere Oaks. We moved into Windermere Oaks about 5 years ago. And there was a POA meeting, I don't recall exactly the date, but a couple of years ago where Danny stood right about there, pretty much where he is now. And I sat right about where you guys are sitting right there. And I'm looking up at Danny and he's making a plea for people to volunteer to help him out with the ACC. My dad built houses back up in New Hampshire, so I had a lot of exposure to his formies, his various contractors that he had sub out. I actually built a chicken house once so that I could finish the story, if you will, and learn about things. It's a beautiful chicken house with 6-inch walls, insulation, electrical, all that stuff, and plumbing, back up in New Hampshire. Anyway, I tell you that because I thought, well, hey, I have some background, I may be able to help this guy out. So I volunteered. And on the September 9th POA Board of Directors meeting, I was voted in to help Danny. So there's a formal process to this. I wasn't aware of it. So I worked with Dan and Mark. We met owners of people that were putting together projects of every size. I mean, Steve and Marta here built a big, beautiful house. And we worked with people putting on decks, stuff like that. I learned the processes and procedures. I didn't follow them always perfectly, but I was let go when I wasn't. But essentially, I served in this capacity, and when we moved to Town Square, that software that we use every day now, their methodology was pretty much broken as far as onboarding of new projects. And so another part of my background is I did process engineering for a number.
I'm going to interrupt. I forgot. We should do a 3-minute.
Right.
So I know you're probably close. I didn't check my time. I didn't start it. So just to let you know.
Okay, thank you very much. So when we moved into that software, I volunteered to help fix the process. And so I had a small project. I said, let's use that. I will abstain from the vote. We'll march it through the process. I will point out where there are problems and we'll work and we'll get it fixed. And we did. So I'm just saying that this is another place where I, as a volunteer, help Danny and Mark make their ACC run more efficiently and better. Another place where I volunteered is with the board of directors of the Windermere Oaks Water Corporation. In a very similar fashion, I was in several meetings where the board, such as it was at the time, was having a lot of difficulty getting anything done. Now, I didn't know anything about utilities at all, but I thought, well, hey, I have a little extra time. Let me see if I can help these guys out, because they were really struggling. That's the reason why I got involved in that.
Okay, Brian, we really do have to.
Let him talk.
Can we give
Let him
him our
talk.
time?
I'm
Put my
sorry.
name on there and give him his time.
That's fine.
Let him talk, please.
Okay,
This is
go ahead.
important.
It is?
You know, if
Okay.
you disagree
want-
with somebody in this
Listen, I'm
community-
not here to argue.
Okay, well then don't. Then let them talk.
I'm just trying to comply within the rules of the regulations, which is 3 minutes.
And while you're
If you
rolling
want
your
to
eyes
sign
at
up,
it,
come on up here, sign us, give them your
While
time.
you're rolling your
We're more
eyes
than
at it,
happy to
too.
do, but I'm not going to be here for a half an hour listening to something that's not related to POA. If it is, please go ahead and make it a point.
Okay, so I believe that ACC is part of the board.
Yes, it is.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
All right, so back to the POA and my service on the ACC. In March of this year, Dina and I were walking, which we always do. I have my backpack on, right, so I can get good exercise. We're walking along, and all of a sudden, I happen to notice, I walked by it before, 2 new building projects. And it occurred to me, that's interesting. I never got any notification from Town Square. I check it just about every other week to see if there's anything going on. Nothing. And so I sent an email to Danny Flunker. This is what it said. Danny, I noticed we have a couple of new construction projects in progress. The only requests I have seen on Town Square were all rejected due to the many problems with each. I'm very familiar with them. We've all been looking at this for months. Really difficult, folks, to get to square with the process and rules. I do check the app weekly. Did I somehow miss these new requests? Do you no longer need my assistance with the ACC? And this is a reply I received. And by the way, I have about 14 copies of this and another document that's related to this, and you're welcome to have it, take it home with you if you like. This is a couple days later. Brian, on November 19th, I requested the POA board remove you from the ACC after you were named in a WOWSC lawsuit. And due to the numerous ethical and legal issues you contributed to as a director on the one, they agreed and you were removed. At the time, we weren't yet aware, and other than the advice of corporations owned by that revelation only further underscores why your involvement was and remains unacceptable. And I'll add to this point. Out of consideration, I don't think it was of me. Out of consideration, the details of your removal were kept private to spare you further embarrassment. Let's leave it at that. I have CC'd the new directors, and they are seated here. So they are aware and have reference letter in their files. We have everything covered, so your help won't be necessary. And that's a good breaking point for me if you'd like to come back and talk after Danny's. Okay?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Since I saw Charlene come in, are you ready to speak? Is it on the agenda or something overall?
Something overall.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to bring up an old issue that I wanted to bring up, the subject of Oakville. So, we had a perfectly healthy tree on our lot be affected by Oakville. And all you have to do is go drive down Coventry, and it has moved all the way around the road and it's not in our lot. So we had an arborist come out, and they injected all of the remaining, dozen trees on our lot with the fungicide, and that one also. And the arborist thought that there was, a pretty high chance that the other trees would be saved, but it was worth 50 on the So I really think the POA should get on a campaign to educate people and let them know what's out there, because I look across the street and there's a huge oak that's at, I don't know, Richard Stewart's old house that's gone. Joe,
Mine-
you have
mine-
trees that are all gone.
I've had we did trenching here, I've done treatment here. A couple of my trees died after treatment. And so I'm still trying to, right now I'm in the process of replanting in my yard. So, you know, that would be something that we need to do. I don't think that that trenching that the POA took on, that was
Years ago.
$75,000. And they came back through my backyard and they went up to Bedford. And I can tell you that it didn't really make a difference. As a matter of fact, I don't know that it helped and might have hurt spreading the oak leaf. I don't know.
But I think it would be a good idea to have someone with knowledge. One time we had an extension agent, I think, kind of speak to us about it and what can be done.
Yeah.
Because if we don't take action, we're going to lose.
Right. Well, I think that for me, I know that there's been some self-treatments. I think Mark, does anybody know Mark, what's Mark's last name? McDonald. He was here and his trees were dying and he did self-injected treatment. And I gotta tell you, it came back. It did come back. I was shocked because his trees were almost at a point where they were gone. So that might be something that we look to consider, maybe an arborist come out. Because I don't know, Charlene, how much did you spend on your treatment?
Carl handled it, so
Oh.
I couldn't tell you, but I don't think it was more than a couple $1,000. It was
Really? Mine was 13 and I only did 3.
And we had multiple trees. They
Yeah.
bring it the fungicide out in kegs.
Okay.
Yeah, if you saw it, and then they injected it.
You may want to give it to John
Go
Lowry.
ahead.
I had that done twice
Yeah.
on the tree in the middle of our driveway,
Yeah.
and it didn't work.
It didn't.
And 1 year, 2 months, was looking at it,
Yeah.
and it took it back. So I was working with folks at the time. He told me, he told me, I know we can do it. I said, go ahead. I said, I'll be so we did. There was not one leaf left on that tree in our driveway. So by there, this tree, that tree is pretty sick right now. But anyway, so much that all the leaves off, every leaf, there's not a leaf on that tree. It looks like something from West Texas. We probably have some buzzards sitting on it.
Yeah.
And,
It does right now.
and about 6 months later, the leaves started popping up, and it came back full. Well, right after he did that, the arborist, who treated that tree a couple of times,
Yeah.
came by and he said, "What happened to that tree?" I said, "I'm not ready to much. Got all the oak stuff off for me." He said, "Oh, that's the worst thing you can do." But
Yeah,
it
right.
did come back. It came back, was full and healthy, and it looks like it's getting sick again.
Well, you know what? That's a good point because you remember that house that's just right there on the corner going down to the marina?
Uh-huh.
That was bad. And Tomas actually cut all of the limbs off of that tree to the point, like what you're saying, nibs. And they came back.
Any
Did you
other
have some-
comments on Oakville?
You might want to get with John Lowry. He has a company that comes out like every 3 months and
Yeah,
does
I
stuff.
use
And all
them.
his trees look healthy and everyone around him is dead.
Well, I use them, by the way.
Moving on,
So I'm
Paul?
just saying.
Real fast, 3 things. One, congratulations on getting the pool done and the gorgeous landscaping. That turned out beautiful. For finishing that up. And then I just want to make everybody aware, we're heading into fire season, and we've got some empty lots that are going to be fire hazards. And so we need to, as a community, get people on board so that we can minimize the fire danger. That's it.
Thank you, Paul.
We have it on the agenda, but it's on the one for the special meeting.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. We had a lot of things to
Yep.
remember to put on here.
Can I just comment, Dan was a past president, and there's some other people here that served on boards. Was there anything back in the day, I know the community, the POA today, I know Josie said we spent $75,000, but since that time, we've never done anything
So
since then?
here's the problem. Joe Gemini's disbanded the Oakville committee, and we never looked back. The problem is, all this stuff works, except, and what Charlene, her point, I think it would be a great idea for somebody to send something out through town square to everybody explaining.
Yeah, that's a good point, Danny, thank you.
Everything's fixed, and then you have one person come in here with a company that has dirty tools and starts it over.
Yeah,
And I think that's what happened over here. I've cut down 30 trees in the last 2 months. And
Yeah.
there's a whole bunch more that are dead that are coming down.
well, across the street from you, I'm still concerned about that tree limb that we talked about, but,
Oh, one more thing.
yeah.
Greg Wheeler said, and I disagreed with him at the time, 10 years ago, there will be a day when there's not an oak tree left in Windermere.
Yeah,
And interesting, now he's got it on his property.
yes,
He may have been right.
So the 30 that you said you've cut down, Dan, are you talking about in Windermere?
No, his
Yeah,
property.
on our property.
Oh, on your property,
Yeah.
okay. Just clarifying. Last we have is Earl.
I was just gonna bring up, you were talking about these 911 phones at the pools.
Yeah.
I didn't know we had them either. A couple of years ago, and I went around and I asked, when was the last time that somebody picked that phone up and actually tried to make a call, or I guess you just pick it up and somebody answers.
It's a button you push, and then they return the call. They immediately pick up. It's the service called Kings 3. It's a national company, and then they ask what your emergency is, and then they call 911 or call the pro.
So somebody has tested it then?
Somebody used to.
Yeah, we just had that one. That one just got rehooked up, 2 weeks ago.
But I mean.
The other ones, yeah, we go around like every 4 months, go around and check and try them.
The one at the hill is on the side of the building.
That's,
so
yeah,
it's
the
not
wrong
up
place.
front like
Yeah.
you're seeing this one. Center Cove is after you walk in the gate to your left. It's by where you sit on the bench, so it's more prevalent, I think, to be known that it's there
Yeah.
than the one at the hill. Just point that out. Thank you, Earl.
So you have one still?
Yes, it's on the side of the building. The building
Yeah, they
sits
all
like
have
this,
it.
and it's, yeah, they all have, oh, I'm sorry, it's on this side, yeah. Did you have anything else on the treasurer's report, Josie?
Oh, okay, yes, so typically, I do want to point out I was not here the last time, so apparently people were curious about, I guess a variance. All these documents are on the website if you all need them. They are fully updated. I do have the treasury report here. Am I reading it?
If you want to, go ahead.
So I have a treasury report here basically telling you what we have in the bank, it's credits and debits, and what's been paid out. So right now in checking, we have 171,602. We have reserves for 202,765, which is a total of $367,000. Okay, in assets. Liabilities, obviously, we have operations, reserves, funding change, 23 and 24. I don't know what that's about. Yeah, I will.
Because we have all the reserves together in one bucket.
Yeah, you guys keep going around that, so I'm not
No,
sure.
she pulled out the 250,000 came out for the pool that went into operating. Then the rest of it was reserves, so we'll have to ask you, Josie.
Okay. Anyway, these are online, and then the income statement is online as well as the variance report. So if you have questions, once you review, feel free to get back in touch with us on your questions. With regards to, if you want to see these now, I'm more than happy to pass this around. I didn't make copies. So would you like to see it? Anybody? It'll be right up here.
But like Josie said, I checked in the last couple of days, they're out on Town Square under the budget. There is a tab that says for residents, and like she said, you can see all of these same documents there as well. I'm going to back up. One of the things I did make a note to all of us on the board, I worked a lot with Melissa in the last 2 days to clean up this budget because they started adding in some categories that we had approved from last October. So there was a few of them that I took back out and put them in the buckets where the monies were supposed to belong to. Just as a FYI. report, please?
If it's all right with everyone, I'm just going to sit here and give this report. And I'm going to address what Brian said. Yes, I did want to save him some embarrassment in my ACC report after he was removed. I didn't tell anybody he was removed. Thought it was best that way. He brought it up. His actions on the water board. We got a letter from John Carlton. John Carlton's resignation letter said that board did not follow his advice. That's all I need to see. But the board, it's a board decision. In my opinion, he's a liability. All right,
Who
moving
else
on.
is on the ACC committee at this time?
He was on the
No,
ACC.
who else besides you is on the
It was-
committee at this time?
Right now, Paul.
Okay, thank you.
And then Mark oversees it from the board.
And anybody who wants to join up, feel free. I mean, you know, we're not the Lone Rangers here.
But as
Matter of
Danny's-
fact, I'm not a lifer either, by the way, so I won't be here next year.
As long as no one produces a letter that says from a legal office that you ignored their legal advice, that's something, in my opinion, it's a liability. Okay. We've approved 4 new builds. You can see the ones going up over here on Bedford. They want to change the paint color on one. They've submitted it. I don't see any issues with it, but we're going to vote on it. Then there's 2 new builds. One's 1032 Coventry that Mark and I met with, and one of the homeowners on the top up on the hill had some real issues with the height. As he proposed it would be 57 feet tall, and it would be a real problem. So we met with him. He hasn't submitted really any plans yet, so it's not up for us to vote on yet, or even in the timeline. But we're going to keep an eye on that. And then I invited the homeowner that was concerned to be a part of the process, so that one day he doesn't wake up with this strange thing. And then there was another one, and I don't have the address for that. It's not in the hopper yet.
Also, you approved one on,
We got 101 Kendall.
Yeah, we
Kendall.
approved the one next to Tom's.
Tom's house.
Yes.
Right.
They haven't
That's why I said
started yet.
There's 4 new ones, and then 2 that are under review. We approved the one over there on Kendall.
Kendall, yes, you did, yeah.
That one was approved.
And then we've approved stone patio project on Coventry down here, a fence installation, and Julie's railings for her deck. And that's it.
Thank you, Danny.
Next, grounds to put on the agenda.
Excuse me.
Oops, I'm sorry, Brian.
I asked to speak during this part.
Oh, you had I apologize.
So I read Danny's letter. I would point out that that letter was written, and I only noticed that what happened to me in March of this year. Danny's letter specifies that he had the discussion and they made the decision under the prior board in November of last year. I was not aware of any of this and didn't discover it until this year in March. Nothing in Danny's response has any concern with my performance on the ACC. It's all about a totally different organization. I'm continuing on. I'd like to have a couple questions for the board. And really, the board at the time was Paul Sharp, Josie Fuller, Julie Newman, Ole Kulas, and Marta Waters. Marta's here already.
I was on the board too.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, Mark. You are. Thank you. Paul, Ole, and Marta did not continue with the board at the end of their tenure. For Josie, Julie, and Mark, Dan said in his email to me that he delivered these accusations of me to the POA board. Is that true?
I don't remember, to be honest.
Do you remember, Paul? You do not remember? How? Did he present it in a meeting?
No.
Did any
No, I
of
will
you?
stop you all on the board. Danny sent an email out to all of us.
Yeah, he sent an email, but he,
And it was voted on by the board
yes, it was.
Yeah.
to terminate
Remember
him.
that too.
And you were notified that I don't have this on the tip of my mind, 'cause I didn't know we were going to be talking about this subject, but the email was sent out to you. I can't remember if it was on Goodwin's website. I believe it was on Goodwin's website, I believe, that you were terminated.
Well, if someone could find me that would be helpful, but I received no notice.
Are you hooked up with the counselor? Yes. Okay, it's on counselor.
Were you hooked up back in November of last year?
Yes.
Probably since we got here.
Yeah.
We've had an account. All right, so back up. Dan said his email to me he delivered these accusations of me to the BOA board. Is that true? You got an email, right?
Yeah.
Well, the answer is yes. Right, Paul?
Okay.
Thank you. How was that delivered? We now know email. Did he present it in a meeting?
No.
Thank you. Did each of you have an opportunity to evaluate that information?
Yes.
Paul?
We had the opportunity.
Thank you. And as Danny mentioned, you agreed with him and decided to remove me from the ACC, did you not?
According to ethics,
Did
yes.
you all?
Ethics.
Yes.
Did you all?
Yes.
My
Ethics.
ethics, your ethics?
Your ethics.
I don't think so. Okay, so there were other board members at the time. I've mentioned how that happened here. So the result was unanimous among the rest that did participate, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. So from those answers, we can conclude several things. First of all, there was a de facto meeting. It occurred over email, but there was a de facto meeting.
Could have been.
There was a decision.
Brian, I gotta stop you right there. Stop for a second.
Sure.
You're bringing up a subject that we're going off our memories. So it's that, you know, an honest person bringing this subject up with none of us having this fresh in our mind.
I think
we're
you
going
guys
off
are doing really well
We're
with your
going
memory.
off our memories.
You're doing very
So
well.
I also questioned, it might have been brought up at a board meeting and voted in executive session.
Yes.
Possibly.
Correct.
I don't know, I don't remember right now. So for you to try to draw conclusions without having all the facts is improper, and you should stop and desist right now.
Again.
Okay, I just asked questions,
I'd
I
like
got
to
answers.
table-
That's really what I'm.
To the best of their ability, this is not fresh in their mind. They're going back
I
in
understand
November
that.
or whatever last
I
year.
understand that.
So Brian, do you want back on the ACC committee? Is
I'm
that
not-
your point?
I'm not finished. Okay.
But your time limit is,
Yeah.
so let's just cut
And we
it
need
short.
Okay, so
I'm sorry,
There
Brian.
was a
but we-
decision.
I'm going to table the rest of this conversation when the board can review the notes, since what you brought up.
Thank you.
We were,
That's a great idea.
we were not informed that this is what you wanted to talk about. We
Should have
need
been
to
on the
research.
agenda.
I'll put it on the special meeting agenda.
All right, perfect. Thank you. Have a great day.
Hey, Julie, can I just one comment?
Yes,
I
sir.
mean, you're all asking us, yeah, come on the committee. But if you don't agree with something that we do outside of the board,
Amen, brother.
that,
Wow.
you know what I'm saying? That,
What do you mean by that we? Who's we?
That's amazing,
Well,
Dan.
I'm saying, well,
Really?
here's number one here.
Really?
This guy has criticized my past profession on social media.
Jesus,
to my
Joe
face.
Jimenez does that all the time. You
Well,
ought to get on his website.
I know.
I'm on there.
I haven't seen that
Do I
guy
pay
in 5
attention to
years.
it? No, I don't,
Well,
because
I'm
it's
just
not
saying,
worth
I'm
my
just saying.
time.
I-
I'm above that.
I got off the social media.
Okay, we're gonna stop with the discussion for a second. I'm gonna say one thing here. I was the ACC chairman, and I got, during the pandemic, when Marcus and who else was on the board, I was removed without any votes, any notice, no discussion, no nothing.
For no reason.
So, for no reason. So,
Doesn't make it
so
right.
I've been there, been down
Doesn't
that.
make it right.
Hello,
So,
hello, this
doesn't
is
make
not
it
an
right, but
argument.
he
This
should
is a
bring this up
discussion.
and had, put it on the
Listen,
agenda.
listen.
So
I
it
did.
can be discussed.
I did. I
wrote it
So
down.
we know the past history, it's fresh in our minds, so we
You
can
guys are
discuss
just
it
here to
properly.
stir the pot.
We went through it very
That's
carefully.
what you're here for.
What's that?
Stirring the pot.
Oh, no, I came to the meeting because we haven't been to one in 9-10 months. That's why we're.
Well,
I had no
everything's
idea
been real
Brian
calm
was going
since
to be
you
here.
haven't been
I didn't
here.
know who was going to be
Heavens.
here. Well, we're busy, okay? Is that okay with
Great.
you?
Yeah, it is.
All right.
We just want
But let's move on,
We
please.
want fairness, that's all.
That's
And
what we're
treat
doing,
people
fairness.
like human beings.
We are.
Because if you don't agree with somebody, you want to bounce them out.
In the,
It's not about that.
The day I sent that to the board
Fairly,
was
ethics
either the day
is an
after
issue.
the water board meeting or the following day, when Brian Garceau, when all of us tried to speak about them
Wait,
selling
he's
our land.
talking, what is, I thought we ended
I'm
that
the ACC
conversation.
chair and I'm explaining what I did.
Oh, but then
That's
you
when I sent the letter.
Danny, we are gonna table that. There's no personal preferences here.
We're gonna move on and
Tabling
we're gonna
it.
be here all day.
We're tabling it.
Yes, sir, I'm sorry. No?
Maybe you could read this water board shit out of the POA.
You would think
Yes,
so.
that's right.
You would think so.
But this
ACC, not the water board.
And just to clarify,
brought the
the
water board
AC,
in.
anybody that's on the ACC has to do the approval of the board. It's the only committee that basically, yes, you can volunteer, but if the board has to approve it, and if the board doesn't approve it, then I'm sorry, you're not on the ACC.
Mark made a good point. He was also removed.
You had a de facto TOMA meeting via email. You took a vote via
There you go.
email.
There you go.
You took
Brian can have
you
this.
did this for a personnel issue.
Thank you.
Via email.
We appreciate your comment. Thank you.
That's really
Let's
what it
move
was.
All
on.
right, moving on, grounds.
We want people here that are really trying to work within our community and do the right thing. But if that's not what you want to do, please leave. That's really all I ask.
That's your answer.
That is my answer for right now. We're tabling your comments, so please hold your comments. This is not a meeting for us to spread our dirty laundry out. We have for several years had good. Okay,
done.
so you don't want to hear me, so I don't want to hear you, so let's just leave it at that.
Okay, next is the grounds. We have a fall workday plan for November the 1st. The one point I want to make is we still have cleaning company is cleaning our pools. They started May last year. They clean on Tuesday and Friday. At that point, the monthly charge was $431.92, which came to almost $1,300 a month. Because of the new pool, if things were reevaluated, we also got a new manager. It was found out that even though they said to Paul that they were treating us as a commercial pool, they didn't bill us as a commercial pool. And so the new amounts that we now pay for the Hill and the Cove are $639 a month, and the Pavilion now costs $775. So that makes a total of, that makes us $636 a month over budget. I did make a copy of the bids that Paul had gotten when he was on the board last year when we decided on this for everybody. And we're still, even with this company, we are still cheaper than any of the bids that we got last year. Most of these are way over that number. There you go. So my question to the board is, under that situation, do we want to possibly look at any other quotes, or are we okay with moving on with where we are?
I think we ought to stick with where we are. I think they did a great job last summer, because we had the black mold issue in the old pool, and it never looked so good by the end of last summer with the black mold situation. So
I just wonder what kind of chemicals were in there.
They have to keep it within the limitations of what a pool has to be set at, with the PHA and all that, and chlorine levels. So I believe we should stick with the pool company we're using, because they're doing a great job.
And I have to say
Why
that since
fix it if it's not broke?
yeah, and we now have a designated manager. There was a point at the beginning of the year we were bouncing back and forth, and now that we're on the commercial, they only service 30 commercial companies, so we get treated a little better than being a straight, when they had us listed as a residential, even though they told Paul we were being listed as a commercial. The next is social. The total we spent so far for this year is, I'm just going to round it, $3,500. The May social, which was a good success as far as most of you in this room attended. We had 77 people plus 7 band members. That cost $2,800 total is what we put that one together for. So we still have money left in the budget. We have provided lunch for those that have been working on the entrance gate. That was taken out of the social budget, which I know those that work, like Tom and Mark and Will, and look at who else is out here.
Soup, Greg.
Soup, Greg. It's Greg. Yeah, Greg's back there. Alan, you've also helped with that. Gate and camera. I ordered 30 remotes. So far, we're able to keep the cost of the members under $30. We've had 2 repairs done at the airport gate, and it was due to the rain. The receivers that run that gate are actually in the arm box, and one of the receivers was down on the ground. So that only makes logic that when it rained, the water went rushing down and it shorted it out. So it was moved up more inside, though it's kind of very smashed, everything that's inside there. We did look at trying to get us out of having 3 receivers, which some of them control the new pad, some of them control the old remotes, which look like a garage door opener. The bid that I got was to take us down to 1 receiver, but that required the people that live here, like Tom and so on, that use the airport to buy a new remote, which mostly everybody came in and said they would. However, if they buy a new remote, then the one that they have will not, they'll have to carry 3. They'll have to carry 1 for Exeter, 1 for the gate on our side, and then 1 to get in off of 404. So I kind of backed off at this point in time of moving forward. I have put a call in for the tech to call me to see if we could get rid of 1 of the 3 remotes, or the receivers, I'm sorry, but I haven't gotten that answer yet.
I'm just curious, are we responsible for the gate on
Yes.
going, so we have to provide the access?
Yeah, that's what we decided. Yeah, we paid new keypads, which are big work. I think, Tom, I'm looking at you because you go back and forth, and who else in here goes back and forth? Steve? So Steve was one. I mean, he was down there. We used his to do some of the comparisons. So, I mean, it would be nice if we had an amenable airport board that we could work with. It'd be nice to go to them and say, hey, why don't you update your receivers so that everybody could get this new type of remote.
But I'm confused about the 3rd remote that you were talking. Are you talking about the south end of the airport?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, but some people basically, like, I'll use Bruce as the example to that, use that one to get in on the other end.
Yeah.
When they come in all the time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I haven't thrown the email back out. I wanted to, tell the board where we were at this point in time of asking those that are involved if they care that they carry 3. Tom, I'm looking at you. You don't use the other end, do you?
I just got through them.
Yeah. Steve, you don't use the other end either, probably.
My remote runs the north end. I don't use a remote for it.
But the change I'm talking about, the remote you have today, you have to keep for the south gate, and you get a new one for the north gate. That's what I'm saying. You'd end up with 3, basically. 1 to get in and out of Exeter on our side, and then 1 at the south gate for airport, and then 1 at the north gate.
Well, in my case, I so rarely go through the south gate, I just use the code there. I don't have a remote for it.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll put an email back out and ask everybody's opinion. Let's see what's here. Road committee, Mark, anything?
Well,
Not yet.
our roads are getting in really bad shape. I've been talking to a couple different banks. They are willing to look at financing. Paul gave me one name of the bank, and I talked to a few others, but I was kind of really hoping to see that, drill baby drill, if things were starting to kick in, that we'd see oil prices drop. But instead of dropping because of the Israeli war going on right now, the markets are kind of panicking and going back up. Even though Saudi Arabia is talking about increase their production to compensate for it, but if we can get, if oil prices are coming down from 60 to mid-60s to the mid-50s, that could maybe save us maybe $100,000 in asphalt paving. So we're kind of waiting on that. And I really didn't want to start talking to the banks until we're ready to pull the trigger and get an estimate from the, 3 or 4 different companies that we did a couple of years ago. So just kind of waiting to see, probably at the end of the summer, in the fall, take a look at everything, and talk about it then, see where we're at with everything.
So I walked this morning by these 2 houses being built over here, and I gotta tell you, are we trying to get anything for the builder to repair some of the roads?
Oh, well, we will.
I mean, it's
that's
bad.
part of the application.
Okay.
However, Elder never paid for anything when he destroyed this.
So are we working on,
What?
are we working on the ACC, or is that on the agenda?
No, but we can put it on
Yeah.
to talk. We have a lot of different other ones. Okay.
Well, we do have a couple here that, did put a new home and a garage on the back of their house.
Yeah.
And they did tear up the road, their contractor, and they did fix it. So
Yeah, no, I
that's
get
a
it.
responsible,
Absolutely, and I appreciate that.
homeowner, and builder to fix those
It's the
problems.
builders that I'm concerned about, obviously,
Well, we're gonna have to hold them
accountable,
accountable.
right. But not for $2,500. I don't think that's gonna fix a road.
No, it doesn't.
I don't know. Is Steve, did his brother build a house?
Yeah.
How much did he pay for fixing that road?
I don't know.
I don't know the exact number, I think it was a couple of $1,000.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, pavilion pool construction. First of all, we finished that. I want to make a big thank you. You all can applause to Mark, Tom, Will, Greg, and Tinker, Glenn and Susan Moore, Sue, Steve Johnson, Patty Young, Kim Highfield, and LCD were all part of helping to get us to the final end of the project, which was all the landscaping, stone,
And
mulch.
you, Julie, it looks beautiful.
Yes, thank you.
In the pouring rain.
In the rain. Emailed out, I want you to know, because after that is when I couldn't walk for several days at all. So Lord was watching out. Governance, we're going to talk about some of that later on the agenda. Website and communications. I think I brought this up before the meeting. We have instructions up here to register for Town Square. Is everybody in here registered on Town Square? Anybody not? Any hand?
I kind of am, but I kind of not. It won't let me get into some of the stuff,
Then
so.
you need to call Melissa, our community manager, and you need to work with her. Any of you all that talk to your neighbors, if they're not set up on Town Square, you need to encourage them to do it. Because the couple of complaints I've had lately, well, people didn't know, like, especially now, we're in June, we changed the gate code back in May, and I even let the old one go much longer than what I say it's going, and we still had people not able to get in. And we do all the email blasts, all the notifications, you've all seen it, we do it through Town Square. It saves us a lot of money. If we have to mail, we're gonna talk about that later, it's $4 for every piece of paper that goes out through our management company to mail out. So to give you an idea, we got 300 and some owners, we're talking plus $1,300 to do a mail. So just to, like I said, if you're talking to anybody that's not, please, give them Melissa's information and get them set up.
Julie?
Yes?
But do they still send emails for POA
Yes.
meetings or?
Oh, yes, I'm the one that goes in and does them, by the way. All these email blasts that you get, most of them are coming, I'm
Through
going in,
Town
I now
Square.
have the capability to go in and do it.
Is Bobby on it, maybe?
I called them, I got it all straightened out, we
Okay.
still never get emails.
Then you need to call Melissa back and see if she can do a test.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think there would be more people attending the POA meeting.
Well, that's the reason the sign's been going up in front of the mailboxes.
I know,
to
but
let
if
you
they
know.
got an email blast
Sure.
for the meeting. that
Well,
would
she
only-
sends them. I don't know what's happening.
And I can go in, just so you know, I can go in and see how many users, who all the people are that actually go in, that actually pull it up. But on the email blast itself, like the one that I did, it'll show the whole agenda. I make sure that it's out there, but you don't even have to follow the link if you don't want to.
Did anybody not get her email blast? You didn't get it?
Charlene didn't get it either? Okay.
Sue, what's your,
Just gonna say, I get 2 or 3.
yeah, I know I get 5,
And
6,
Melissa,
7.
is Carl possibly set up, Charlene? You don't know?
At one time he was, and then I called and asked him to switch it to me as the primary, and it just all went away.
Well, you can call Melissa, because she basically told me, we talked about it a little bit before, they can set up 2 emails for the same property. They have a way, but you have to work with her to do it.
What's Melissa's
I have it.
Do you have it there?
Yeah.
Dig that up while I go on to.
Yeah, go ahead.
We don't have anything on the 135 budget planning at this point. I need Josie for the. You getting it, Josie?
Yeah, I'll get it.
Okay, well, actually, I just found it. Her office number, you ready? Okay. 512-852-7951. Her cell number, which I get more response that way, is 281-620-2481. Did I go too fast for anybody? Are you okay there?
after 281?
Which one? The 281-620-2481, and she also takes text. But the one thing that she asks when you email or whatever is always put WOPOA.
Even if you send it as a text.
She's got 2 Windermeres.
There's 2 Windermeres she's responsible for. So that's why you see a lot of times Windermere Oaks, and they put Spicewood in the parentheses, that's why they're doing that, by the way. Josie, I guess you're listening. We're down to old business approval electronic votes. Cost of, I knew I had this somewhere. Cost of landscaping for the pavilion pool included plants, stone, mulch, we've talked about all that. $23,006.26 is what we spent.
And that's with us doing all the labor.
Yes, that's why I wanted to say thank you, because
Yes.
we saved a pile of money. I did most of the research as far as Mark had the idea of the Arizona cypress, that's the kind of tree. We used Lalo Tender Lawn to do the install. The other person we had quoted wanted $200 a tree, they did it for $150. So those trees cost us $420 a piece times 20 is what the trees alone, what the cost was for the actual trees. They all have, I didn't bring this up before, they all have irrigation. All the plants over there are all run by an irrigation system out of the building.
Except that one tree, that Julie, that one tree there looks like it's.
The one on the corner?
Yeah, you
Oh,
saw that.
well, I had him on the agenda, even I just didn't get to meet this week.
Okay,
So
look at that,
I'll
make
bring
sure that's
that up.
working, because it's not getting water.
Okay, all right, check that one out. Then the other electronic vote, we had pulley equipment repair at Center Cove. We did a valve replacement, parts, and autofill. We also hired Lalo to clean the area down there, and then they also changed the medium in the filter. So far at the Center Cove, we've spent $5,547.18 to keep that pool running. The Hill, we had to replace its valve, and these valves were replaced because they were not protected enough on the freeze. So they froze during the freeze. They now have new covers, by the way, that the plumber provided to us to help prevent that. It also had autofill, so that was $1,277 we spent at the Hill. Then the other electronic one we did was for the lighting for the tennis courts. That bill was $13,125.
So are they up now? I'm sorry, I didn't see it.
Yeah, no, he's in the process of getting it finished. So I need a motion to accept the electronic votes.
I'll first, or second. So now, when we
Making a
talk about
motion.
electricity, wait a minute. When we're talking about, I know, but isn't that something that we put out for the community to vote on? Is that what we're doing here?
No, these are our electronic votes that we did on email. We need to certify them in the minutes.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So I make a motion to accept the electronic votes as stated.
I second the motion.
All in favor? The motion passes. Have on here discussion of amendment for the Articles of Incorporation. Again, trying to keep things moving. We haven't done that yet. We all got wrapped up in trying to get that baby up and running. So my question to the board is, I'd still like to pursue it, but I'm thinking maybe the fall. What's everybody's thought?
No, I want to do it before then, so it
Well, we
goes
gotta make
into
sure we don't
effect.
have people on vacation. That's why I backed off and not pushing it right now. Because you have people gone for summer and so on.
So you're talking about what date then, September?
Maybe pushing September.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could happen.
Okay. So I think we talked about like 45 days. We just need we need an ending date of when we want to end it. Do you want to end it before the September meeting?
Yes.
Do you want to hit on something on there with regards to non-member, so that everybody understands what we're going on
I
here?
had that, and like I said, I don't want to spend a bunch of time on it, but I had that
I mean,
last
it's
thing I
real
passed
simple.
out at the last meeting.
So here's the deal. The reason why we are trying to get the articles changed is for typically one reason only. And that is to remove the wording that says non-members can sit on this board. Now, if you want somebody who's outside of this subdivision sitting on this board, that's up to you. But please keep in mind, those issues are going to be somebody else's, when somebody else comes in here, they could have an agenda. And when they have an agenda, it's about you and I paying for stuff that goes on, that's been going on for years. And most of you in here that have lived here for long periods of time know what I'm talking about. I have been here for 30 years. It has been constant stirring of the pot, look here, don't look over here, kind of thing. And that's why we get into legal issues. Josie? Sorry.
I think what I'll do is, since we're gonna have to talk about a special meeting, I'll bring the flyer that I passed out, because all of you weren't here, in March when I passed out. Basically, it was a sheet for you to look at and go, okay, if you read this, do you understand what you're voting on? And I pretty much had the consensus was from that. So I'd like to share that with everybody, and then put that on email blast. Share that so you knew when you do get the mail out, because we are going to have to pay. This all has to go out via mail to be done. And it's all going to be voted either by mail, or no proxy, mail, or you send an email answer back. I ran it by the attorney. Basically, we're allowed to do it that way. And then we put a deadline. This is how long we have to collect the votes.
The next meeting is September 13th.
13th, right. So do we want to collect it before the
Yes.
next meeting?
So we're going to send it out when?
Probably like the end of August.
Whatever the 45-day period is.
Yeah, I'll back it up. I'll just put 45. So the ending date will be 9/12, the day before our meeting?
Well, is that going to be enough time for her, Melissa, to
Oh, yeah.
get, because she has
She
to,
told me she needs about 2 weeks.
2 weeks
Yeah, to email it? No, not to email it.
to get the totals.
Yeah.
No, not to get the total. She'd have the totals. To basically to let her know once we give her the documents to put in
Give her
the
2 weeks
mail.
before she can send it out.
Right,
What I'm
exactly.
seeing on the back end of it, how much time does she need to tabulate all this votes?
She didn't tell, I didn't ask.
Well, if you're going to give her at least a couple of days, I would say.
Want to do the 10th then?
Make sure she's not going to be on vacation before we set it in stone.
All right, we can confirm, let's say we'll confirm that on our next.
Something around,
Do you need
close it on the
plus
10th,
one
voting on
of
the 10th.
voters,
Huh?
or plus one of property owners? What is this?
This goes out to all property owners, and the difference we found out on changing in the articles of incorporation, we need 75% of the people that respond to say yes. This does not take 75% of the membership, which is the difference in what we were originally stating at the annual meeting. We didn't, we had a big, long conversation with the attorney back then.
Yeah, because that's impossible.
Right.
You get 75% of the
Yeah, never
vote.
happened.
Possible.
No, it's impossible, that's right. But there's enough of you that basically participate all the time that understand what we're trying to accomplish. So if we have 100 of you respond and 75 people say yes, it passes.
It's always been like that? Is it-
No, well, there was a
The understanding
miscommunication.
of it, let's put it that
In
way.
other words, then we could have got rid of the short-term rentals.
Well, that's on the CCRs, we're gonna talk about that in a little bit too. That's why I said I'm trying to keep us moving. The information, signage at the mailbox area, I don't know, do we need to table that maybe?
Was it?
We talked about, I'm looking at Will, because we talked about doing a sign at the information box that
Will's going to
basically,
give us an update on that.
yeah. Do I need to table it for you?
No, we don't have to table it. The main thing is, I don't want to yank down something that somebody has up there, but I mean, if you look at the mailbox,
I already did that.
I mean, people are putting stuff in there that's probably been there since, and I've only been here a year, but it's still there, and I doubt that it's useful information. So I'm thinking what I'm gonna do is, so I don't yank down somebody's flyer and make somebody mad, I'm just gonna move it over to one side of the box and then put new items and then eventually just let it scrape off. If somebody doesn't say anything about it, I'm gonna put my personal email up there and information, so that way if you still want your information up there on the box, if it's a realtor or something like that, then they need to contact us. But other than that, I certainly don't want some house for sale that's up there or whatever it is, and piano service or tuning service, and they went out of business. All right, so it's kind of ridiculous.
I want you to know, Will, that I had to clean it to be able to post our agenda, because by law, we have to have it up there. And Danny, I need you to make a note when I was doing that, why the water board wasn't posted up there. I thought they had to post up there too, but I'll send that to Patty. But no, he's right about, there was stuff that had been there, because I post back and forth, and I knew, no, this has been here forever.
Give it like 6 months. And
I sold one for $600. The Santa
Progress on the interest gate, any comment on that, Mark?
So things kind of came to a halt trying to get on the front entrance gate because of trying to get the pool done in time. And then Texas summer has come along, and so I've kind of lost ambition to be working out there in 100-degree weather. So probably gonna wait till it cools down a little bit to finish it. So just everybody knows that's not the finished product. The metal is 95% done. What's gonna be left is we're gonna, if anybody's ever been to Danny's and Patty's house, they have the same, that's where everybody got the idea from, seen it at their house. It's a metal fence like we have, and it's picture framed in wood. So the top would have a header on it and then 2 legs coming down. So it'll be done out of cedar, so it looks really nice. The hard part is attaching wood to that metal, and then the post behind it. So it's not gonna be a very easy, quick project. It's gonna be probably 3 guys, 4 guys, take a week to do it or longer. Just so you know, Will, I, Greg, Tom, probably Sue. I have 5 to 6 weeks of my time in working in this year, working on projects in this community. So all of us have donated 5 to 6 weeks of our time helping this community to save it money from what we're doing to make things better for the community. So please keep that in mind.
And we thank you for it.
So,
We really do.
I'm not quite clear on what you said. The wood is gonna just be
It's gonna
on the
picture
frame it.
outside?
Picture frame it. So it's
Gonna
going to go
go
on the top,
around.
a header on the top, and 2 legs that come down.
I have
About every 10 feet.
Maybe do a.
Yeah, what maybe you can do, put a picture on.
I've got one on my phone of Danny's. I'll throw it out on Times Square.
So it doesn't, it breaks it up so it gives it a better 3D effect to it, and it has depth to it, and it's not one big, plain, ugly board,
Yeah, right
basically.
now we look like a trailer.
Well, we're thinking to raise money, we could do advertisement on there, so that's what we're thinking.
I was thinking that.
And we do plan
So,
to add
advertising to raise some money for to pay the roads.
We do plan to add some landscaping out there. The reason there were the 2 of these trees went out there, but we kind of have to keep an eye on them because they don't have automatic water. Street signs, Mark.
Give you an update. So, one of the meetings ago, the board voted on getting signs, so we got 4 deer signs, and on Easter Sunday, I decided on myself to, and nothing else better to do out in 100-degree weather and go put those 4 signs in. So we had the 4 deer signs out there to get people to slow down, hopefully not kill any more of the deer on the road there on the road. Also, we had new signs for the hill by Julie and I call it Killer Hill, going down next to my house. I fixed a sign that Spectrum kind of destroyed. I fixed that, and I put 2 more signs up there, Steep Hill, steep curve ahead. And I also put one coming into Coventry on the corner of, who lives up, what's her name? Lynette's house there on the corner down there. If you go down past there, I put a sign down there, and also one going down to the marina. I also put 2 signs on the marina gates that says that the POA is required to keep those gates closed at all times. So we've had a few issues already, and if the water ever comes back, we'll have probably a lot of issues. As we all know, once the lake comes back someday, that everybody and their brother wants to see use our marina and our ramp to put their boat in the water on Travis Lake. And we've also ordered some more stop signs. We're going to put a stop sign down at the end of, once you go Exeter, when you go through the gate. And some people now with the wall up there are used to running through that corner and just doing a quick glance, looking down the road, and now coming to a full stop. So we always had a few accidents. So there will be a stop sign there in the next week or 2, hopefully, when we get that sign in. And any other signs you see that need to be replaced, please let us know.
Do you intend to keep down by the marina that other Windermere sign that's really
No,
old?
No, I have that one to replace.
That's getting replaced too.
Yeah, okay.
It's just taking time.
Yeah, I just wondered if it needed
I know.
to stay.
We're trying to replace out all the signs, so everything is new and is legible.
Yeah, that one's faded, but there's still the one in the middle that was
I
done
didn't know if
back.
it needed to, what it said needed to be there.
Right. Yeah, but we actually kind of duplicate off there.
And also we voted on, just so everybody knows in the community, so you can tell people this, Exeter Road is 35 miles an hour. We did used to have 25 mile an hour in the community. The board voted on it, I don't know, whatever, a couple meetings ago,
March.
to change the speed limit in the community 20 miles an hour.
Yay.
The only 2 signs that we have that say that are right here at the entrance. One when you pull in, and then when you go that way. I have one more sign left I'm gonna put somewhere around in this entrance area. So, we have noticed, we'll get into that subject, people speeding around our neighborhood, that'll be later on in discussion.
Okay, realty signage, that was talked about at the March meeting. I'm gonna kind of come back on what Will made a comment when I went to put up the information out here on the board. Not only do we have the realtors putting all their information out on the brown thing out here that a lot of us don't like, they now are posting all over the board in here. So I put them all together because I had to make room. But I'm just making a point. If you're gonna use this, why do we need that? So I just want you all to think about it. I know it's a kind of an issue, whether we can take it down out there. Those that have worked on the front entrance would like to see it go away. I mean, we all live in the electronic world, and most of the stuff is out there on the website.
Yeah, the only reason I would have an objection to that is because I'm still walking around Windermere seeing the realtors post.
They'll have signs in
It's still,
front of it.
I pull them up and or I'll call them and I'll say, it's
Yeah,
a
well,
$50 fine.
You need
What
to
about
know.
when we have an open house? If you're selling the
can't-
property. I'm sorry, Darby, what?
If you're having an open house that day. you're
Yeah,
selling the
that's
property.
okay, that's okay if it's just a temporary for that day, but you can't, realtors can't have their signs out there.
Well, really, the
It's not, it
CCRs say no.
does say no.
And we basically should be allowing, which she does come, because I have to give her a special code, she meaning Dana. Normally I have to give a special code for them to do those open, like the last one, they did a big open house for I think 4 of them in here, for the people to come in and out that particular day.
For the elder house.
Yeah, well, I don't know if they were all elder, but a couple of them were. So anyway, I'm just bringing it up, food for thought. I don't think we're where we can, in other discussion, vote on it yet. To leave alone.
So, I'm sorry, one more time, something about signs?
Is there anything we want to vote, whether to officially take it down or?
I don't know about taking it down, because then they're gonna put signs up. That's the only thing. Then they're gonna think that they can put signs up here.
I think we should bring it up, put it out there when we have a questionnaire sometime.
We're going to
Put that
do a
out there.
survey coming up.
Put that
Okay.
on the
So I'll put that in
survey.
survey.
Get the community's idea or feedback what they want to do.
Okay, fine. Dog food station, crazy. There's 2 of them, one over here, one over at the hill. We talked about it, them being taken down, but it never got assigned to anybody.
Those can't read, I'll put it
But- but Tom will take it down? Okay. All right, good. Tom?
give my dog food there anyway.
Okay. I don't think we need to vote on that because we already voted to
Wasn't
take
that
it
up to
down.
Darby in charge of that department?
Where's the other station?
Yeah,
It's over by the hill. It's
Oh.
that, like where the bill.
Oh, by the pool. Yeah,
There's
that's right,
one
yeah.
outside the pool area.
There will be a hole in the ground there shortly.
Good, thank you. Tennis court light hours. I know some of you out here are the ones that play on the tennis court. We need to decide what
Is
hours.
it just tennis or pickleball too?
Oh, pickleball. I said tennis, I'm sorry, but in pickleball. I'm including the area.
I will see the tennis players out there. So any comments by the pickleball players?
I guess I'll start calling it pickleball. Sorry.
Are you asking for a time limit?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so how late in the evening?
Mm-hmm.
And how early in the morning too, so you're not waking up people.
I don't know if we talked about it.
Brian, you have any concerns?
Well,
Brian,
by 9.
you have any concerns?
About the
Time?
light,
Great.
the light will
Take
not
care of you
bother
guys
me.
play.
And the sun doesn't go down
No
until almost like
objection.
8:30.
The light
Yeah.
will not bother me.
It's
So-
cool enough to play
I
out
mean,
in the summer. It's
make
10
it
o'clock,
simple,
so
I was thinking we make it the same as the pool hours.
Yes.
10 o'clock.
Yes. I
Dawn to
agree.
dusk.
I mean, I don't know, that's just a suggestion from
That's,
me.
well, it's
10?
10 o'clock. I agree.
10?
Yeah.
We're-
Morning.
We're
I don't-
4 hours, 7 to 10?
9 to 10, they say. That one says 9 to 9. I'll explain
That
why.
way there, we don't have to buy more signs
Yeah.
and let's just make it all.
Brian's got a question.
Yeah, just one point on the pool. We should be aware there are people outside the community that are using the pool. So if it's later at night,
Then more people will come.
maybe, I don't know.
And
no
they
one's
do
gonna be
reach
watching.
in and.
Well, we have that to talk about later, but since we're talking about the pool hours, like the hill and center don't have lights, like out here we have lights. So right now, I've got that one posted at 9 to 9.
It needs to be uniform for all the.
Right,
Yeah.
that's why I wanted us
No.
to discuss it, so.
Mark, talk to me about that gate because it's dragging. The
Yes,
door
it is
when you-
dragging.
It's
Yeah,
dragging,
yeah.
so
I'll
They
get,
need to pull it up.
Tom will get his man on it.
So,
I didn't know.
So back to our tennis court lights.
yes, just the pool, there's a
space that's open, people can reach in and just.
Oh, I know,
open the
I
door.
took a picture, because I have to find out where we can go get an additional grate. We had to do that at the other pools, because I'm a short person and I can almost touch that handle from coming around.
We can get that, I think, at, doesn't Lowe's, Tom probably have that, Home Depot?
Like a grate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can get that taken care of.
And just to make you aware, since you're discussing it, a realtor who lives in this neighborhood, she told me in the grocery store the other day that the short-term rentals have keys and that those people are using the pools. Is that?
We're gonna talk about that in later meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep us to each of the subjects, guys. Okay. So we're still back on the hours. What are we doing? We're gonna do 9 to 10?
I agree with Will, let me just say that. I think that it should be across the boards. We don't have to buy new signs, we make it.
We'll have to have one done for over there, because we don't have one hanging by the tennis courts.
What's,
So it's 10 o'clock.
any comments on what the pool hour should be in the tennis court lights? Any comment, anybody?
10 is good. Anytime. 7 in the morning, okay?
7 to 10?
Yeah, if you push the limits, they're gonna over.
Well, no, but I think it should be, some people were saying 9, but I think it should be 7.
I wanna-
because one of the ideas, if you want to do laps, they might want to do it first thing in the morning, before it gets too warm.
Did it say 9? Maybe I have 7.
I don't know what it says, but.
All right.
But, I mean, is everybody here that's here, is 7 to 9?
7 to 10, 7
work?
7 to 10.
7 to 10?
Okay.
7,
I make a
10.
motion, we change the pool hours in the pickleball court, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Do I have a second?
Yep.
Second.
What?
Okay. Oh,
Yes, yeah.
any
good.
more discussion on it?
No.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes. So the hours are going to be 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. New business, discussion on action and adding the WOWSC utility line clearance form to the requirement for ACC approval. This came up out of the water board. Sorry, we have to cross mix here. I didn't make an extra copy for everybody, but I know Mark's aware of it. He gave this to me. So basically, the water company has had several issues where people building.
Your water company.
Yeah, your water company. Yes, that's right, our water company. People that are building are not checking where the water lines are, and during the construction, the lines are getting broken. So they basically have asked that this form be completed, that the builder, like an example of the new one over here, basically checks it out, has the water company come and check out where those lines are ahead of time. And then they have to have this form signed off, and then it goes over to Danny on the ACC to take the approval on from there like we do today.
Having been the latest culprit for breaking water lines. Nobody knows where they are. So they're supposed to be mapping them again. I mean, either we broke it, we didn't even know it was there. They don't know how to turn them off. I mean, damn it, it's tough. You know, new guys are struggling, so that it's not going to be efficient for a while.
I also think it should be on the application. There should be a line on our application.
Well, this here's a 3-page form, so either like you.
No, this form's gonna have to be attached to the application, so it's not gonna be a check. You could
Check a box.
I mean, you could have it modify the form, and say you need to check to make sure that form's included.
Right.
The key thing is we gotta make sure Goodwin knows that they're requiring it, so they're getting all the information like they're supposed to be. And that's one thing Brian did do, help with he was the first one when Goodwin came online. We did use their house as a test guinea pig to see how the system was going to work. So, thank you for Brian for doing that. We do appreciate that.
But in the world of Goodwin, we had this to talk about twice with the ACC. We as a board can approve to do what we just said, but you, Danny, as the ACC chair, has to submit this to Goodwin to say this is what you want done.
Okay.
So I'll make that change
I'll have
on.
them attach that.
Huh? Yes.
We're going to vote. We have to vote on it.
We have to vote on this. So I'll make
I'll
them.
second it.
Does anybody know when they're gonna try and find the lines again, Mark? Or they have to-
Finalize what?
Find the
For
lines.
that?
Find the
Find the
lines.
water line?
Well, it's we paid. I think they paid $13,000 to have it done, and we don't know if it was even ever really done.
They're not.
We do have maps in there that generally tell where things are, but not precisely. So. What they have been doing in the past basically is we walk onto the property and they use the two switches. metal copper switches. And that does work.
It does?
Yeah, and that's how we found the water lines back there for the 3 new builds. And we found out that actually that the water lines go way into their property. So actually those 2 houses that are built back there, their back decks or patios are actually going to be almost probably over the water lines. And so they've been told by Danny and by the board that if anything happens, that we are not responsible for any damages we have to do to fix anything once they build over a water line. So that's going to be potentially be, a liability problem for the water company. But that's why we need to make sure this form, that form gets filled out and is held to for every new build that goes in the community. So the water company can come out there and mark where the water lines, and also so the ACC knows where that is, so they don't approve any houses to be built over water lines, like Tom's past house.
Before they buy the property, I would think.
It's all assumption.
There's no requirement. Realtors don't care. Like realtors have to realtors. People that are buying houses don't tell them about Goodwin. Don't give them the articles and bylaws. And all and every application that the ACC is getting, most of the information is not even complete, where it's checked off or read properly or signed. I mean, people are just lazy nowadays and don't want to take the time to do their due diligence and do what they need to do, cross their T's and dot their I's. Literally, a lot of stuff that gets submitted to the ACC is got to go right back to them because it's incomplete information.
Interestingly enough, it costs them a whole lot more money. If they had read everything and done it right the first time, they wouldn't have to get new plans and whatever that costs.
Okay, next is discussion action to add verbiage on the approval letter sent by Goodwin on ACC building projects. Again, as I said before, what we decide as a board, Danny has to submit to Goodwin. I tasked out the proposed letter. I kind of took the board, what you're looking at is what they sent today from approval. Under the stipulation, I added the paragraph that says construction should begin within 6 months of plan approval. All improvements must be completed within 8 months of commencing construction unless extended by the ACC in writing upon submission of written application explaining the reason for the need for additional time. That is taken directly out of what we just discussed, the paperwork that they signed for the ACC guidelines. As Danny made a comment, Mark said, these people don't take the time to read. The other part that I really wanted to go in here, because we've had such an issue with that group over there, basically it says, make sure your crews are aware of the community work hours, dawn to dusk, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 on Saturday, no construction on Sunday or holiday. Even though I couldn't walk that Sunday that they were working before the holiday, I had to go over there. My partner went and got the person, and we had to tell him, you need to leave, you cannot be here. So that's the reason, I'm sorry, as a person on the board, I'm adamant that this be on this approval letter going out.
I agree.
Because there it's in black and white. They can't say
Well,
they
they
don't
need
know.
to sign it too. There needs to be a place to be signed. So then if they sign it, that means they received it and they understand it. Then we can find them.
But aren't they signing the application that
Sign
goes to
this
the
too.
ACC?
Like any attorney will tell you, sign everything.
Okay.
If you want this specifically, it's the same thing like anything else. They'll go to the next thing and forget about it. Not sign it.
Well, they would ask to have it signed to be returned. The other part that I left open was fines. I didn't know if we as a board wanted to make a note, this is in the ACC, where it says on here, construction not in compliance with approved plans up to $1,000 plus the cost of remedy. It says a $50 per day fine for violations of the restrictions may be levied according to Article 7 of the bylaws of the WLPOA. Do we want anything stated on that?
Well, if we're going to go make any changes, yeah, we'll definitely change that.
No, I mean adding to the letter that I just talked
Yeah,
about.
well, maybe you might want to add that to it. Maybe.
Well, that's why I'm
Point to
asking.
that.
I didn't go ahead and type it because
Yeah,
I
but
wanted
point,
to know.
put that in there.
Okay.
So
We've read and understand all the ACC guidelines on issues, that kind of what you get
Right.
And here's how much it will cost.
Well, I think I'm just asking, because again, Danny said I got proof of railing, and it just simply said under this stipulation. Well, if this is here, and like Mark made a comment, we can say you need to sign and return this. And like you said, we've got them on file so that way we do easily say, hey, you signed for your crew.
Right. You can't say you didn't know that.
Right.
Right.
Because that's what they're gonna say.
Okay. So I will rework it and we'll put that on to vote on it at the next meeting.
I've sent out a form that, I don't know if you guys all saw it, but it's about.
The resale certificate?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that.
I don't know where you want to take that, but I definitely want to talk about it.
Did you want to do it in executive or you want to?
Yeah, let's do it in executive. 'Cause
Okay, if we have, I'm trying to push to get you there because you got to leave.
I know.
Hey, Julie. In the past, I've signed different documents in different places and stuff. And sometimes they have a little space at the end of the ones they want you to acknowledge individually. So if you have one that they're violating commonly all the time, they can sign the bottom and say, well, I must have missed that when I read it. But if you have the initial at the end of that specific one, that pretty much rules out.
Well, maybe on the paragraph that I put a stipulation, we can have that you have to put your initials there.
Yes, I would definitely.
Maybe that one, because like I said, these are the two things that they seem to be not paying attention to.
Yeah.
I also have a note in there about the gate code. They did a special code, by the way, too. Thank you for that suggestion, Sue. Let's see here. See? Okay, this one's a lengthy. Discussion and action on Goodwin to handle restriction enforcement. Okay, I tried to type out all the issues here. So garbage pickup, again, back to email blast. I did a long conversation with Texas Disposal because at some point, Melvin is not probably going to be able to continue doing garbage pickup. So it is the responsibility of you as an owner to make sure that your garbage is picked up and it's not out there for days. If for some reason they don't come through to pick up, you need to get it back under cover. It should not be sitting out there waiting till Thursday, Friday, Sunday. And so the Texas Disposal, I did a special deal. I have a paper, if any of you didn't get my email blast, that if you do a 3-year agreement and there's no penalty for breaking the agreement if you happen to move, and you can get that service as cheap as $24 a month. Huh? Yes.
They
And
just reached
basically-
out to everybody.
Huh?
They just reached out to everybody to give them that deal. They had to. They couldn't give one rate to some people in the neighborhood.
They didn't, I've been with them all along since I've been here, just so you know, and the only reason I went down this path to pursue it was because my daughter lives in moved to Hockley, which is outside of Houston, and she had to sign up with them, and she goes, Mom, I did this 3-year deal, and I got it for that, and I go, hey, I'm gonna call and find out.
Yeah, they just offered that to everybody in Windermere.
Did you get an
I did.
email?
I did the 3 years, sure.
Yeah, but did you get a notice from them is what I'm asking?
Yes.
Because I never got,
Oh, yeah.
that's what my complaint was
Oh,
to them. I said, she said they just started this program, is what I was told, and this was when I was talking to them in the end of March. So I turned around and took this information, and it's actually posted out in Town Square as an announcement, by the way. In case, yes, Earl?
Also, they said that this new deal that they put out there, that 4 times a year, you can
Large.
have bit large stuff. It can be refrigerators or whatever. All you gotta do is call them for pickup, and it's free because you signed for 3 years.
Right. Yes, that is in there, and also, just so you know, many times when we've had small limb sections and stuff here, like when we cleaned the gate down there, I ended up taking it home and it went out through my garbage because I was able to do that because they take these, and that was before this contract. So again, anybody if you have any neighbors or whatever, we've got this posted out there. Moving on, to talk about violations. Currently, people are not getting any violations. And the reason is because we asked them as a board that we wanted to review them before they actually went out. There was a statistic provided by Melissa at the annual meeting that we had 120 violations last year went out for landscaping, 39 went out for rubbish and debris, 20 went out for unsightly, and 12 was due to vehicle trailer parking, and 5 was for maintenance. To do a notification out, it costs us $35 for the first offense, which is just a notice, no charge. The second one, step 2, is a demand, and that one's $45. Now, Melissa and I recently, we had a talk quite a bit this week, And the last time they drove through was on June the 5th. The next time will be next Thursday, the 19th. They never told us, but they have a portal. They have to use a separate portal. It's called the Smart Web, which is where the access they put for the pictures, the violations. And I've asked them, for Mark and I, to be added as an experiment, to be added to give the access. And so when we get the access, then we turn around and get a notification, like if she drives through next Thursday, we get a notification that there's a violation sitting out there. We can go pull everything up. If we want the violation sent on, all we've got to do is click yes, and it automatically produces the letter, no matter, and it knows if it's step 1 or step 2 or step 3.
It's tiered.
Right, it's tiered. If we don't want it, then we can cancel it. So if you and I are on it, Mark, or one of us, once one of us makes that choice, then if you did it and I came in, it wouldn't be there. It would be gone.
I think it's a good thing, but I think it's gonna save us some money.
Yeah.
Because for example, I've gotten other people's violations. So that means they're billing, they're making money, sending the violation to me, the wrong person, and then they gotta go around, turn around, and send the violation to the right person.
Right.
So there's been a lot of double.
But we have to have a separate access as well. They can't do it under.
Whatever the medium is for us to be able to do it.
And they call it their compliance portal, I guess. She said they're working on trying to get it in Town Square, but they can't at this point in time. I also asked us if you and I want to, or anybody else on the board wants to, since we have this one coming the 19th of riding with her, but I don't think we need to do that if we can get this portal access. Because that might help.
Well, they just hired a new person, right, again?
She did not clarify that.
Let's find out if it's, and I think Paul's left, but last year when Paul was on the board, the first couple of times Paul rode with the person.
Yeah.
So we can say, okay, no, that's something we don't find, no, that's okay. So I think the person needs to get somewhat educated in how every community is different, how they enforce things.
So the original ride
So,
would be
yeah,
for
so I
that
think
person.
probably one of us should do the ride along.
Okay, I'll ask her to.
I would be available on Thursday, I think.
I don't think
I'm on Monday, so if you want me to go Monday, I'm off on Monday.
Yeah, but she doesn't come through.
Oh, well then.
It looks like she does it every 2 weeks.
Find out, and then one of us, if I can, maybe Will can.
Yeah, to do that.
We know Tom's thinking of water license, too busy to do anything else.
I don't think we need to vote on that, I'm just letting everybody.
I just have to get that in.
Right?
I said, I don't think we need to vote on it, I think we're.
No, you don't need to vote on
that. Discussion on developing a welcome letter. I didn't really put anything together. We really don't have a whole lot of volunteers. Speaking of which, we're short on volunteers for social and all the other committees, even though when we do need something done for grounds, everybody here, most everybody in this room pitches in to help at that point in time. But I thought about doing a letter basically that had all the information in it. And then it would actually be able to, Melissa said one of us on the board could actually remind her once a month to find out who the new owners are, and then the letter could go out. And I'm looking at Josie because I know you're used to dealing with realtors and so on, thinking, I'll work on developing the letter. I thought maybe Kim would help make it fancy. Any thoughts instead of doing a Kim Highfield? Is she the one that has the experience with newspaper or whatever?
No, I've been doing the newspaper.
No, I know the newsletter. And then there was somebody else in our community that.
Oh, you're talking about,
I'm talking about.
oh my God, Kathy.
Oh, Kathy.
McFarland.
Oh, McFarland, thank you. I knew I couldn't remember her. Anyway, it's food for thought.
She's off in Germany.
Hey, Sue? Sure. I want to ask you a question. When I first moved to this community, you had a little party at your house, a welcome party to some of the new people in the neighborhood. How did you find out? Just by meeting us, by word of mouth, basically, who to invite? But were people that you liked, you thought you liked, or didn't you? When you invited me, you didn't want me to stay?
You were down the street.
First of all, we divided the community into West Windermere and East Windermere.
Right? There you go, we're east.
Oh, it's divided up far more than that.
I didn't have party.
You got
We
the
had
codes.
friends that moved here that we're going to church with.
Okay.
That's basically what it was. Yeah, that's what it was.
So my comment on this is, I still like the old-fashioned way of welcome basket.
Well, we just gotta find somebody to help do it because
Well, I know, if nobody steps up to do it, then I guess we can't, but.
that's
just
why I
think
made another
That's the
comment,
old fashioned way of meeting your neighbors, right?
Yeah.
That's a
Yes,
good way to
it
meet
is.
people, and,
It is.
you know, and so I mean, that's how I kind of met Jim. Jim invited me to his house one time when we first moved here, and never been invited back ever since, but I don't know why.
Too much.
You know.
Well, now that's after we run the background check.
Yeah, right.
Make sure it's ethically.
But if we get nobody to volunteer, then I guess we're gonna go with that. I mean,
well, we'll just, I'll leave it on for, to discuss again. And we'll
well, then
see.
maybe we should put it out on the newsletter too. We'll look at that, looking for volunteers to be
Okay.
part of the welcoming committee.
Put the head, put some hedge slippers or rake, things like that, they're welcome back.
Yeah.
That's an excellent idea.
What all you needed? Okay, so now we're down to another set of documents, the CCRs. These things are way, way out of date. And the reason they're so out of date, the state laws have come in many times by our wonderful Texas legislature, and they keep overriding it. So I did a call with Cagle on May the 19th. It was 45 minutes, a full hour. And it requires 67% of our vote to pass a change in it. And his suggestion was that we put together a committee that can go through and look at the CCRs and choose see which items possibly we'd like to have changed. And this all came about because we had an owner that passed away and the family took over the property and they had 19 vehicles on May the 3rd and the 4th up on Coventry. And so it was one of our short-term rental issues. Huh? Yeah. I was
Well,
gonna
today
say.
they have another group.
So
camp.
basically, according to Cagle, even though our docs say that we're supposed to be for single family, it was taken all the way to the Texas Supreme Court that as long as they're providing eating and sleeping quarters, that they consider that residential. So there's really not anything we can do except get something fixed in the CCRs that says that either you only can rent, it has to be more than 30 days or more than 6 months or more than a year. And so it's going to take basically doing that amendment to the CCRs to get to that
Is that
point.
67% of the community or
Yeah.
67% of the people that show up?
Present.
That 67, he
Or
said
both.
the community, the way it reads, but I will clarify that with
That's the
Kagan.
key thing right there.
Right, I know.
Usually that's what we tried to do a few years ago.
Yeah.
I know that I got kicked off the board the last time. I hated to have to bring this subject, but we don't have. I asked him, I said, is there any other recourse that we have? And he said, no. The only thing that can be done, the management company can't even find them. The only thing that can be done is you as a homeowner, which the pros aren't here of this particular property, because if they're partying to the degree that they are, you have to call the sheriff and you have to report it. In our restrictions, it says, see, I had it in here. Anyway, about noise. Section 8 says, no loud noises may be caused or may be allowed to continue to occur on any lot so as to unreasonably disturb any other residents in the subdivision. So the only choice we have, if you have that kind of disturbance going on, is to report it and have the sheriff come out and report it. Which is, I don't know if that happened on the 19th at all, but that's where we're going. So if we could put together a committee, he said there was 3 things for us to look at to determine whether we wanted to make any changes. It isn't just this change. Like another thing that needs changed in there, and this is driven by the state law, is the fencing. All the write-up in the CCRs is wrong. The state law basically says this is what it's supposed to be. So that's not really, it just needs to be changed. But I don't know if we even have to vote on that. I'd have to ask him that question.
And that the ACC board.
But he basically, yeah, he approves it, but Danny has to go by what the state law is for it now, not what's in our CCRs, because our CCRs are wrong. They were outdated on that part. I'm just using that one as an example.
So when people, when you look at the documents that are online, is it what the state says?
No, it's outdated.
Problem.
We
You
have to
know,
change
that's
it. You
why
all have to
honestly,
vote.
like when the people that come in with fencing and stuff, if they look at what those CCRs says and it says, hey, we can't have it be on the front, it only can be this high, we can regulate the kind of material.
What type could it be?
Yeah, we can relate,
But not the
regulate
height.
the material, but not the height. If they say it's for security, then it could be 6 foot, 8 foot, like the one property over here. So,
I
oh, I'm sorry.
can't remember. something. Do we have to allow online voting for those types of issues?
No, because the other one that we're talking about changing the articles, we're talking about, we have a choice of how we can elect to do it. And we're not gonna do it with a meeting where I collect everything at the meeting. We're doing everything by mail and collecting it that way.
Mail or email?
Mail and email. We make a choice of how we wanna collect it. And I can do a town hall that talks about, that's probably what we need to do for the one coming up in September. I can do a town hall to answer any questions going back to the articles of incorporation change, which would be the same thing if we got to this point, but I
we
feel
can't
on
do
this
it by
one here, we
meeting,
need a
or-
committee.
We can't do it by meeting, or you just think, well, we won't be able to do it, get the required attendance?
If- According to what I'm understanding, if you do it by meeting, then you gotta allow those proxies. And we were trying to get away from the proxies, and I think you probably know why.
Same thing as email.
Yeah.
And that's true in other states too.
Yeah.
Colorado.
So do we want to put, I mean, is it something that you all feel like we need to look at? Because if we do, we need to put together a
Well,
committee.
I don't want to talk to that because we just got something from the Goodwin the other day, the board did. A realtor, somebody wants to sell their property and the potential buyer wants to know if we allow B&Bs here or short-term rentals. And so there are people who are looking to buy properties in Windermere just for that reason. So you think you have many now? We're going to have a lot more in the near future.
And
probably.
supposedly at the water board, she said 20, which Charlene and I, back when we were on the board, we did the research, we had 20. But I can tell you by talking to a couple of the realtors, we are the only subdivision in Spicewood that allows these short-term rentals.
And the realtors are advertising that short-term rentals are available on their MLS.
Right, yep.
It's in there.
And in our
With the bedrooms and
CCRs,
bathrooms.
the CCRs state that renting and leasing of residents shall be allowed. That's how it's stated in the CCR.
Can we re-vote on that?
That's what we're working on.
That's what I'm asking. If that's just one particular, Charlene knows, we went down this path terribly. But I feel like.
Problem is, it takes 67% of the entire community to vote yes.
I agree.
You can't even get that many people to vote.
Well, we don't even get that
Or
many
show
people
up.
here for the.
You're going down a path.
That's why I say let's do it in an annual meeting. When everybody's there, they've got to do it.
That's 222 votes. But I can clarify if it could be done the same way we're looking at doing the articles. But that's just one piece. It's like, do we want to look at anything else?
I'm sure if you have food at one of these meetings,
Yeah.
I'm sure you get a lot more people to go.
How about if we
I don't
offer
know.
booze, beer?
Yeah, right.
Now you're talking. Old fashioned for some people.
We had 77 people at this last party, so even if we're just very
Yeah, it doesn't help. The annual meeting is probably the best target of all because they show up.
But the one thing about this, if we had a committee that went through not only maybe it's short-term rentals, it might be a couple other items maybe we want to change.
Yeah, Julie, but who's going to be on the committee?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't got that far yet.
Yeah, well, that's part of the problem. That's what you need to find out first. If you're going to have a committee. If you don't have a committee, then the board's going to have to do it.
Right.
So.
But I'll head it up. If anybody, like I'm looking at Charlene worked with me on this before. I mean,
She doesn't look like she's too happy
she
about
wants
it.
to.
No.
Will, you got your handcuffs?
Everybody start looking at your phone.
Yeah.
We'll handcuff her. She ain't going
Right.
But there's a few other things in there that we could look at possibly getting changed. And the one thing is when you put it out for vote, you can list them as a paragraph and you can vote and you can say yes to one and maybe no to the other. You don't have to say, oh, I've got to agree to all three to make a yes to be able to pass it. That was a nice thing that Cagle pointed out. So you could put other options in there. Like, again, back to do we want to do something beyond 30 days, something beyond 6 months.
Okay, well, we have to move on.
Yeah,
Okay.
please. I gotta go to work.
Yep, okay. So where do you want me to table that for next discussion?
Yeah.
Well, you got to get all the facts straight, so we know.
Well, I have the part of it. Okay. Swimming pool hours, we already talked about that. Action of age limits on the drivers. Let's see. Will, I think somebody grabbed, we have a problem with I'm just going to call it all golf carts, but ATVs. We have a problem with them being driven through the subdivision too fast, too many people on the golf cart.
Too young.
Too young. Back in 2016, Danny dug this up for us. There was an amendment done to the rules and regulations that read, all motorized vehicles must be driven by a licensed driver or accompanied by an adult. And then it was taken out by Joe on the next board, by surprise. Go-karts were not allowed to go back to the rules and regulations done in '94. So I could pull my book out. Rules and regulations are something that the board can set, and they don't have to be redone every year. So there must be 10 or more that go clear back to 2013, 16, 18, and they may have not addressed each issue. Like the rain barrels are clear back in 13 of the rule that was written for that. And so it stays that way until something else is changed. So this one for the golf carts, I pointed out that paragraph. We as a board can vote to say, hey, we want to put that in our minutes.
It's welfare and safety of the community.
Yes, for the welfare and the safety of the community, but we cannot enforce it unless we do a resolution or we add it as a separate rules and regulation. It's also advised that the attorney, Hagel, review it to make sure we don't have any conflicts with the statutory documents, meaning the bylaws, articles, and CCRs.
Well, the attorney's going to look at that.
Right.
So one of you or Josie's going to have to talk to the attorney about that. Clarify how we do that the proper way.
And then also, Melissa, I asked her other subdivisions, and basically they rule that for the vehicle to be out there in the first place, it's supposed to have proper lighting, headlights, tail lights, reflectors, a parking brake, mirrors. It's supposed to have a moving emblem at the rear of the vehicle, a slow moving. And it has to be operated by a licensed driver, and it has to be used on streets with a posted limit of no more than 35. She said that is what the state law says, what we're supposed to be looking at doing.
Good.
Huh?
And Lakeway just passed something similar.
So I actually got all that passed. So, for discussion, I'd like to make a proposal, at least we take the paragraph that I typed and put it in the minutes. And then, I guess, again, asking you all, do we want to do like a rules and regulations that mentions these 5 things with that paragraph and send it up to Kegel for approval just for that part?
Where would that get added into?
The rules and regulations. Yes, and it's a separate one that would just be done.
Some knucklehead gets killed.
Oh, yeah, those
somebody will
four.
get killed.
Mark, I saw you going, those 4 kids, the 2 sitting, the 2 stand with no shirts. I saw one day.
We saw you chasing them.
Man, how those kids are still alive, I don't know. Listen, I see them go by.
That was the major. I saw them all the holiday week, because I got video cameras, so I saw them going by, and then Donna came home. I was on the couch. She said they almost, ran a couple deer over. So my wife went nuts. So I got went down here. And luckily, I ran into Will. Will's just coming back up from going fishing with his son. So I made the executive decision to call the sheriff and wanted to report, put it on file. I didn't press charges, but we did.
They're a couple miles an hour away from being roadkill.
But unless we get it posted in rules and regulations and get it posted at the county, we can't enforce it.
Well, let's do it.
Well, they're not knowing yet. The only way to enforce it is to vote on it.
That's a liability issue.
Yeah, I want to push it up and
You should at least post it in the mailbox.
So you guys vote on that then, right? State law to drive rules and regulations?
Make a motion.
Yes.
Okay, I make a motion as of the statement that I read for all motorized vehicles and also what's considered street legal, that we add it as a new rules and regulations, that I get it typed up for the approval of Kegel.
Just need to be a licensed.
Have to be a licensed driver.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. We also have a note on here, item H, approval for any expenditure done by the board under 500 on an item service for the community would be authorized without required 2/3 board approval. Melissa basically states the other boards do it at 1,000, so that's us to make a choice. The reason I'm bringing that up is, so I wanted it in the minutes, because we on the board, I can tell you, we went email crazy in these last few months of everything, especially when we did all this stuff for the landscaping, the small amounts. Same thing for me, like when I talked about what we had to spend to do the pool repairs. So that's the reason I'm asking to see if we want to approve that. If not, we move on. Any discussion?
you asking, 500 or 1,000?
No, well, I had 500 when I typed this, because I was just looking at what Mark and I, we kind of discussed about this.
Well, just so you all know, Julie and I and Tom, for the most part, have had to buy all the materials and everything. We've done that on our own private accounts for credit, and then get reimbursed by the community. But somehow you can put a man on the moon faster than the mail gets from Austin to here, basically.
Yeah.
The fastest way we could get our reimbursement checks is I had to go up and pick up 3 of them. when we
Yeah,
were
so
moving
if they
all
put it
stuff
in the
out
mail, it
there.
takes 2 weeks to 3 weeks to get a check.
We don't have
So-
an authorization or any kind of auto draft, or?
No, we don't do that. no.
Most of these vendors, we were lucky out there when we did the pool that I was able to get the mulching company that's over here in Paleface and Lala, we do business all the time. So they were able to do an invoice
Right.
and bill it to
Yeah.
Goodwin. But all the other ones, basically you're paying, oh, and also Backbone. Those trees and everything pretty much plant-wise came from Backbone. So I was able to work on an account with them for them to bill Goodwin. But that's not the
And so
norm.
that just not going to happen all the time. The big thing is like Julie has to take it on herself for all our parties or whoever's on that committee to go out and buy everything and use their own money to get everything and then have the party and then submit it so they don't get reimbursed for 30 or 60 days. So,
Well,
I don't know how everybody else feels on the board, but we need
Well, that
to
kind of goes, it kind of matches up with item I, but I backed off. Item I basically talks about issuing a debit credit card to the president or VP with a set limit. Well, they consider that a petty cash card, and the limit wouldn't be any more than $1,500, but every time that there would be a charge each month, we would get hit with a $50 charge.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't agree with that. So I was just gonna say, hey, we're not even gonna look at that.
Yeah.
doing that.
Okay.
Big charge is $50 a month.
The credit card.
If we went and did a credit card, like every time I do all these social events, I've pretty much been doing them for a
Yeah,
long
I
time.
understand that, but most places have an annual fee of like $95. Credit card.
Oh, for the card? Well, this is good when handling the processing and collecting the receipts.
So they're gonna
Oh,
charge.
no.
It's their
They do
charge.
it per transaction.
Well, it's per month in this case,
Oh,
if we
wow.
have one. But what I figured out how to make work, like this big party that we just had, I can get the vendors to give me an invoice up front, and then I turn it in so I have the money ready to pay them. That's what I kind of been figuring out the way to get around some of this, so I'm not having to put, like, the ban was
Put it-
900 and,
Putting the cart before the horse.
yeah, trying to do it that way.
Brings me to my next point, which is on 500, what good is Jim?
Jim, you understand that, Jim?
We got it.
You kind of
Because
look
these
like-
bills are bigger than 500. Yeah, well, I just wanted, I'm putting the point on here, so.
Julie, can you open up a small money market which allows you 6 checks a month? No, seriously. But,
I feel that sometimes.
Yeah, open up
The
a-
reason I went after my check was because I wanted to make sure I
I
had
don't
my
know,
rent.
open up a money market in the community's name. They allow 6 checks a month, and it's a higher interest rate than a regular savings account.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Well, they
try to
do debit
simplify. We had a
cards,
bunch of
don't they?
different accounts, savings accounts for, the roads and savings account for that. We try to
We merged
put
it.
all together, so you just had too much to track, and to make it simple. So thank you for the suggestion, though.
So wait,
Yes.
so you can't do this in an email vote?
We do.
I need.
We do.
I
We
need
do.
a new door for this.
Yeah, that's what we
we've
do.
been doing, Danny, but yeah, you're talking about, like I said, we had a pile of emails that went on. But again, I'm just pointing out what our options
This
are.
is without a board vote.
Yeah, without the required board vote. But we're.
One of the previous boards that I was eliminated off the ACC chairman, that board, when they all became on the board, they all got credit cards.
Right, and while I would agree with this because I trust y'all, I would have to put
Another board you would-
I have to put I disagree with it because it could be abused.
And that's why I hadn't brought it up before. So-
I agree.
So we're
Or if
gonna
you could just
pass
send
on
an
item
email.
H and I.
So you're saying Julie can't get her knee replacement done?
No.
What about my cruise?
Right.
All right, moving on. Okay, so the special meeting, we need to decide on doing one because we have the items that are left. Well, we have, Brian's been added, ACC rules have been added. We need to look at the community rules. We need to look at changing the locks in the bathroom and the supply area. The internet at the pavilion, that's in here because we now have the capability on all the controls for the new pool, that if we have the internet out there, that we can actually control the pool just like I do the gate. I can be anywhere in the United States or even out of country.
Well, then also your pool, you'll have Wi-Fi at the pool.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure a lot of people would like to be able to do work in the pool area for free.
Then moving the board meeting, I've got a problem in the fourth quarter. So we'll talk about, I need you all to look to see what other date. I'm gonna be gone from the 27th through December the 6th. So Melissa said a lot of boards don't meet in December, they meet in January. So I'm just giving you food for thought.
Yeah, when's the annual meeting? We set a date for the annual meeting yet?
Should be the first weekend of February, whatever that is. Moving the basketball court, these are stuff to talk about, like I said, when we do the next meeting. And then boat ramp, we need to replace the pole and the light down there. And then what else do I have in here? Oh, then I talked about the lot cleanup that Paul mentioned. The only way to do that successfully is to probably I can do an email blast, but I think we're gonna need to talk about doing it as a mail out. Because we've got so many people that don't live here for these lots. But anyway, so when do you think we could do a special meeting? I have to have 3 days to post it.
Okay.
Josie, you're only available on Monday.
I am available all on Mondays, so Sunday, Mondays, I don't know if you're gonna get a lot of response on Sunday.
Well, I'm thinking maybe can we do one at night like we do? Because we're just gonna go boom, boom, boom through these items.
I work from home on Thursday, so I can come over here at 6 o'clock.
So Thursday night, this coming Thursday night?
Sure.
Everybody, anybody?
I can't.
Yeah, we can.
I'll be on plane to Florida.
Oh, it's gonna be Florida. Are you leaving on Thursday or? Well, we could move it down.
Yeah.
I don't have my surgery till the 2nd.
Of July.
I'll be back on the 25th, 26th I'm available.
You want to do the 26th? That's a Thursday?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, Will, are you okay with that? June 26th, I'm looking for it.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Make sure you're looking at June.
Yeah, I'm looking at June 26th. That's a Thursday.
Okay, at 6 o'clock.
At 6. We agree?
Yes.
Okay, so everybody heard out there, we decided as a board, we're gonna do a special meeting on June the 26th, a Thursday night at 6 o'clock here, which I'll post it out so that you all know.
To discuss the stuff.
And it'll be going through the rest of these
The
items.
red lines on the
All the red
documents.
lines. And then we need to break, I'm sorry, I've tried to push as much as I can. Was there any other comments out here before we go into executive session? Anybody? Okay.
How long y'all think it's gonna be out?
Hopefully 10 minutes.
Yeah, I was
No
gonna say
longer
probably
than
10,
30.
because we have one item on here we're gonna move to the special session. We'll move to the 26th.
Our shoe.
So we're gonna come to the table for everyone.
Fall workday?
Yeah.
What he's asking?
Fall workday was November the
First. November 1st.
But I think, Mark, didn't you want to talk about a workday before that again?
Like October?
Yeah, yeah, I'm not sure what the date is yet.
Okay, so I'll put that on there, workday. Anybody, any other thoughts, anybody? Before we go into executive?
Yeah, actually, someone mentioned, as far as the short-term rentals go, would it be possible, because last time we tried to shut it down, then there was kind of a revolt by the short-term rentals?
No, we got all those people on the board.
I know, well, I know. But is there a way that we could have, say, the existing ones could be grandfathered in?
Right, that's what we regretted
That's
last
what I'm
week.
talking about.
But we first have to decide if you're gonna look at doing that, of the period of time you wanna do it for. Do you wanna say, you know, you have to rent for 30 days or more, or 3 months, or 6 months?
Well, I either just let them keep their short-term rentals.
Right, I
They do them as
understand,
they
and then
are.
when they sell
Do
the
that
property.
when they are. You know, people can't start doing new ones, and when you sell it, it can't be a short-term rental after that.
I think we'll have to advise the council on that.
Yeah, right.
You don't want to do
Well, that's what
anything
he
that's gonna
advised.
rise
He
them
had
together,
advised that
cause them to
part.
coalesce and all come out and vote like you did last time. If you leave the existing ones alone, they'll probably some will get excited and come and vote anyway, but hopefully a lot of them just say, okay, it doesn't affect us, and they'll stay home. And we can.
Agreed, Sue, that's a good idea.
That was what we regretted the last time, Sue, that we didn't put the stipulation in there. You have your existing, but if you sell your property, then it cannot move forward. didn't add up. I get a listing from the Realtor all the time of how many places in here are up for sale right now.
There's at least
And
20.
at least 2 or 3 of them are these short-term rentals because they're not making any money.
Right.
That's why I'm surprised at the email that
Can we
Melissa
talk to
got.
Billy and find out how the Thames Village got theirs passed? They got theirs passed.
They got theirs passed.
Well, they didn't have as many people to deal with, Nikki.
Well, and they were well organized.
Yeah, they were well
And they
organized.
didn't have the realtor going around turning everybody on.
See, the problem we have in here, Darlene and I ran into this, we have a lot of people that don't live here, and
Yeah, I get
they
it.
don't see
I
the
get it.
problem.
I get it now.
Now we're changing, our dynamics in here are changing, more and more people are moving in here full time.
Younger people with kids.
With kids. Yeah.
Like Will here.
Yeah. He doesn't.
Very young. I think he's still in high school.
Okay, we gotta get to executive session.
He just got his license, yeah. All right, we're going to
Okay, we gotta go to
Executive session.
Thank you. You guys have a great day. Thank you for bringing Mary. Thank you for bringing the.
Let's leave this table, would you? So, I got
I'm what I hate.
I could have been granted this all this time. Yeah. But I didn't do that. Yeah. I didn't like to do that. So what do you think? So maybe that didn't look like because I never filed it off. I didn't have enough hours. See, I did. But I waited until I was 70 to be able to. Yeah. From Social Security. Yeah. I did because I didn't think it was right. Yeah. Well, it turns out that I was on Social Security. Well, you're straight up with it. Yeah. So then I had to go back and stay.
Stop warning.
Try to get your license so that you're. Right, your taxes for school.
Well, I know, but if you don't discuss, you don't know what you're talking about.
Thank you. So,
Are you getting some?
if I do it, it's gonna be.
No, you're not.
I think it'd be retroactive to when the law was passed. You're very I know.
A sign that was coming or anything.
Since they cut them off.
It's like the only one. You could order it both out. And they get up here and they go down.
Yeah, it's worse. No, that's what I'm saying.
Teachers. Can't do something like that. I don't like that.
They're all paying up.
Yes. Some of them. Oh, they're doing that. Who's going to play pickleball? It's all us. Yeah.
Yeah, I stayed up all night cooking up. I bet you did. If you believe that, I'll sell you a brick.
Thanks for not putting that.
Oh, okay.
Unless it's like Chickerville too.
I had to pass.
I know the guys have said about that.
Maybe get rough.
Yeah, he knows his stuff.
Yeah, he said something. Available all the time. I love that. Heard that I have
And they don't go like. He was
That's what the insurance.
That's what it's good. It doesn't remove it.
Thank you for
I haven't been over to see
He said, he said $29.
He helped me get that shop.
I said, I want to
because otherwise it's going to go ahead and keep back in.
That's given Jim Moore's friend. Something about he says, you realize crash can happen and you missed it. So all your project is so big, you have to do something to this. I said, no, down at the Home Depot, I said, the whole place is wide open, nobody there. That's the hell I ever been
Okay. Off we go.
Well, I guess maybe hang around for this, what you need, we're not gonna find out anything.
That was cool. I'm telling you, man. I feel a spirit slap from the we woke up, I was gone.
Anything from each of you who's going for?
Oh, we're going to actually.
First word.
Now we need to get lunch.
Do you want to stay for this?
I don't know what they're gonna say. It's part of the meeting, right? I mean, if I post it, it's part of it.
We did access your feed and lunch.
Water board meeting, I just needed something.
Oh, it's on it.
It's gonna be.
Ready to go. They make all these concessions instead of like they choose to do it. They could say,
Well, it's your last act.
Have fun at the grocery store, enjoy your lunch out. You may see it at the grocery, you never know.
We'll be a circle.
No.
So
Well, Danny, I got part of it out anyway. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry that any of this happened. I've offered my hand of friendship multiple times. It's still open.
I appreciate that.
Too late, you got a job.
I think he's right. Yeah. Well, obviously, we lost all our people, they trust us. Who brought the brownies? That was Mary? Who brought the brownies, Mary?
I don't know. They're good.
Or Marta, maybe?
They're plenty good.
Okay, we're reconvening at,
Where'd she go?
alrighty, what, you got the time?
Yep.
All right, so from executive session, we decided that I can let Goodwin know that the Kegel bill can be done on one invoice with the details showing each item that Kegel's working on that invoice. Guess I make a motion to approve that. Second, anybody second it?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That was it.
Oh, we don't talk about anything else? Or
Well, we made it.
we'll do that when, I'll set up a
It's
meeting
important, so. Just that Josie's gonna set up a meeting with
with
Kegel
Kegel.
regarding the elder lawsuit. That's all it's stated.
We good?
Yes, thank you for staying longer, Josie.
Yeah, sorry, no problem. I just have to be, what time is it? Is it?
12:09.
Okay, well, that's not bad. I can go eat before I have to go.
Do we make a motion to adjourn?
Oh, yes. I make a motion to adjourn at 12:09. 12:09.
Perfect.
Do I have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.